Top HFY stories. When humans fear war, the Galactic Council chamber was abuzz with activity as representatives of countless species convened for an emergency session. Whispers and murmurs filled the vast hall, echoing beneath the massive dome. At the center of it all stood Commander Rhea Carter, a human envoy whose calm demeanor betrayed none of the tension gripping the room. Rhea adjusted the microphone before speaking, her voice carrying an unshakable resolve. Esteemed members of the Council, the Terran Confederation requests an immediate ceasefire in Sector X-12. Humanity will not participate in further hostilities. A stunned silence followed her words. It wasn't just the declaration, it was the audacity of it. Humans, renowned across the galaxy for their resilience and ingenuity, refusing to fight? Unthinkable. Finally, Grand Arbiter Thalrix, a towering insectoid, broke the silence. Commander Carter, forgive my bluntness, but humans are warriors. History shows you excel in conflict. Why now, of all times, do you claim to fear war? Rhea didn't flinch. Because we know what war truly is, she replied, and what it does. The Council listened as Rhea began to recount humanity's history, not the triumphs, but the scars, the burnt-out planets, the collapsed civilizations, the billions of lives lost to war. She spoke of Earth's darkest days when survival teetered on the edge, not from an external threat, but from their own capacity for destruction. But war didn't just take lives, she continued, it stole futures, it eroded trust, it left generations rebuilding what could never be fully restored. Her voice hardened as she looked around the chamber. We have seen the void left by war, and we vowed not to let history repeat itself. Humanity doesn't fear war because we're weak. We fear it because we know exactly what it unleashes. A murmur spread through the crowd. The other species had long admired humanity's adaptability, their ability to endure and thrive under the harshest conditions. But this perspective was new, terrifying. Even if the galaxy's most capable fighters refused to go to war, what did that mean for everyone else? But Commander, interjected a reptilian delegate, scales gleaming under the chamber lights, the enemy won't simply stop. They've already laid waste to 3 systems. Diplomacy has failed. If we do not fight, we will fall. Rhea nodded, which is why we propose an alternative. She activated a hologram, displaying a network of defensive systems and non-lethal technologies. Humanity has invested in solutions to prevent conflict before it escalates, adaptive shields, planet-wide evacuation protocols, and neutralization devices that disable fleets without taking lives. We are not abandoning this fight, we are changing the way it's fought. The Council members leaned forward, captivated. For the first time, they saw a future not defined by endless cycles of violence, a way to resist without destroying. And if they refuse even that? Asked Thalrix, his multifaceted eyes glinting with skepticism. Rhea's expression softened. Then we will stand beside you, but our first duty is to offer peace. Only when every other path is exhausted will we take up arms, because we understand the price of doing so. The chamber fell silent once more, this time not from shock but contemplation. Slowly, one by one, the delegates began to nod. The idea of waging a war without death, of preserving what they fought to protect, resonated deeply. As Rhea stepped down from the podium, a small smile played on her lips. Humanity had faced its demons and emerged not as conquerors, but as guardians, and in this moment, they had taken the first step toward leading the galaxy into a future where war was no longer feared, but rendered obsolete. The Council's decision to adopt humanity's approach to the escalating conflict sent ripples across the galaxy. It wasn't without resistance. Centuries of tradition and deeply ingrained beliefs about honor, conquest, and survival couldn't be erased overnight, but humanity's leadership sparked a wave of curiosity, and curiosity often paved the way for change. The first test of this new strategy came sooner than expected. The Draven Collective, a ruthless and expansionist species, launched an assault on the independent colony of Trinara 4. The colony, home to over 12 million inhabitants, was defenseless against the Draven's overwhelming fleet. Instead of deploying warships bristling with weapons, humanity mobilized the Haven Fleet, a collection of ships equipped with state-of-the-art defensive technologies. At the heart of the fleet was the Eidolon, humanity's flagship, a sleek, imposing vessel designed for resilience, not destruction. Commander Rhea Carter stood on the bridge of the Eidolon, her gaze fixed on the holographic display of Trinara 4. Her crew worked with quiet precision, their determination palpable. "Status report," Rhea called. "Draven fleet is maintaining their blockade," replied Lieutenant Vega. "They've issued a warning. Any attempt to breach it will be considered an act of war." Rhea nodded. "Then let's give them something to think about. Initiate the Aegis Protocol." A cascade of commands lit up the bridge as the Eidolon and its accompanying ships activated their systems. In moments, an energy field enveloped Trinara 4, shielding it from bombardment. Simultaneously, specialized drones deployed from the fleet, disrupting the Draven ships' targeting and propulsion systems. The Draven responded as expected. Their warships surged forward, weapons blazing, only to find their attacks absorbed or redirected by the Aegis shields. Attempts to maneuver closer were thwarted by the drones, which created an impenetrable web of interference. "Commander, they're hailing us," Vega announced. On screen, Rhea said. The face of a Draven warlord appeared, a scaly visage filled with fury. "Human, you dare defy us? Your insolence will cost you dearly." Rhea's expression was calm, almost pitying. "Warlord Crix, your blockade has failed, your weapons are useless, your ships are trapped. Stand down, and no harm will come to your fleet." The warlord snarled. "And if we refuse?" Rhea leaned forward, her voice firm. "Then you'll learn why we fear war, warlord, and why you should too." The battle, if it could be called that, lasted hours rather than days. Unable to breach the Aegis defenses or escape the drone swarm, the Draven were forced to retreat. Humanity's approach had prevailed, not through force, but through ingenuity and restraint. The victory sent shockwaves through the galaxy. For the first time, a major conflict had been resolved without a single life lost. Other species, once skeptical, began to adopt humanity's methods. The balance of power shifted, not toward domination, but toward cooperation. Years later, Rhea Carter stood before the Galactic Council once more. This time, the chamber was filled not with tension, but with hope. "In the past, war defined our relationships," she said. "Now, let us define them by what we build together." The applause that followed was thunderous. Humanity's fear of war had become its greatest strength, guiding the galaxy toward a future of unity and peace. And though the scars of the past remained, they served as a reminder: some battles are won not by fighting, but by refusing to. Decades passed, and the galaxy transformed under the guidance of humanity's new doctrine. What began as skepticism evolved into widespread adoption. Species across the stars invested in defensive technologies, conflict resolution, and diplomacy. The Galactic Council established the Pax Accord, a treaty mandating the use of non-lethal methods as the first line of action in any interstellar dispute. But not everyone embraced the change. In the distant Wraith Nebula, the Zalith Dominion, a fiercely isolationist empire, remained an outlier. Known for their brutal efficiency and technological prowess, the Zalith refused to sign the Pax Accord, calling it a coward's treaty. For years, they remained silent, watching and waiting. Until one day, they struck. The colony of Avion Prime, a thriving hub of cultural exchange, became the epicenter of a new crisis. Without warning, Zalith warships descended upon the planet, overwhelming its defenses and taking millions hostage. The Council's swift response sent the Haven fleet to intercept. On board the Eidolon, now upgraded with cutting-edge technology, Admiral Rhea Carter, promoted for her years of leadership, watched the situation unfold on the tactical display. Her hair was streaked with silver now, but her resolve remained unshaken. "The Zalith have fortified their position," reported Captain Vega, now her trusted second-in-command. "Their fleet is impenetrable, and they've rigged the colony with plasma charges. If we engage directly, they'll annihilate the hostages." Rhea studied the display, her mind racing. The Zalith weren't just testing the Council's resolve, they were testing humanity itself. This wasn't a battle they could win through strength alone, it required something more. "Open a channel to the Zalith flagship," Rhea ordered. Moments later, the image of Claude Vrin, the Zalith leader, appeared on the holoscreen, his piercing, amber eyes locked onto Rhea. "Admiral Carter, I expected more bluster from humanity's so-called peacekeeper." Rhea's tone was steady. "Claude Vrin, your actions are a violation of every galactic accord. Release the hostages and withdraw your fleet. There's no need for this to escalate." Vrin chuckled, a low, menacing sound, Spare me your platitudes. Your peace has made the galaxy weak. We will show them strength. Rhea's expression didn't waver. Strength isn't measured by destruction, it's measured by what you protect, and I promise you, Archlord, we will protect those people. Vryn leaned forward, his smile cold. Then come and take them. Rhea turned to her crew. Prepare the Eidolon for infiltration. No weapons, just the Aegis systems and our specialized strike teams. Vega hesitated. You're going in? I am, Rhea said. The Zalith expect a fleet to meet force with force. Let's show them something they've never seen. Under the cover of the Eidolon's advanced cloaking systems, Rhea led a small team directly into the heart of the Zalith fleet. Their mission wasn't to destroy, it was to disable. Using EMP charges and hacking tools, they dismantled the Zalith's control systems, rendering their ships powerless. Inside the colony, ground teams neutralized the plasma charges, freeing the hostages without a single casualty. When the Zalith realized their fleet was incapacitated, Vryn had no choice but to surrender. Back on the Eidolon, Rhea faced Vryn one last time, now as a prisoner of the Council. You underestimated us, she said. Peace isn't weakness, it's a choice, a harder one than war. Vryn's gaze was defiant, but there was a flicker of something else. Respect, perhaps, he said, but one day, you may face an enemy who won't yield to your ideals. Rhea's voice softened. Maybe, but until that day, we'll continue to show the galaxy that there's another way. The victory at Avion Prime became a defining moment in galactic history. It wasn't just a triumph for humanity, it was proof that peace, backed by innovation and resolve, could prevail against even the most unyielding adversaries. And for Rhea Carter, it was the culmination of a lifetime's work. Standing on the bridge of the Eidolon, she watched the stars and allowed herself a rare smile. Humanity had once feared war, now, they had taught the galaxy to fear it too, and to strive for something greater.